My husband Samuel raised my 3 kids since they were 5 and even lost his legs pushing Katie out of the way of a drunk driver. But when he got out of the hospital in a wheelchair, our kids stopped visiting him. 2 months later, I found them having Father's Day dinner with their biological father, who'd just been released from federal prison after 20 years. When they showed up next Sunday, asking Samuel for money while calling him pathetic and making fun of his wheelchair in their group chat, I decided they needed to learn who their real father was. My husband Samuel may as well have been my children's dad. He raised them since they were 5. He nursed every scraped knee, paid every club fee, played dress up with my youngest, and worked 70-hour weeks during every birthday season. He even studied Japanese to connect more with Leia while she was going through her K-pop phase. He never asked for anything until now. He had just been checked out of the hospital where he was told he would never walk again. Our kids promised him they'd visit. Our oldest, Joshua, sent thumbs up emojis to every request. Yeah, Dad, for sure this weekend. Leia kept saying med school was crushing her, but she'd definitely make time soon. Katie, my baby, the one Samuel pushed out of the way when that drunk driver hit them, came once, but only for 20 minutes. Spent it scrolling TikTok while he tried to show her how the wheelchair worked. 2 months passed, nothing. I watched him set the table every Sunday, losing hope they'd show up with each passing week. Him and I would eat alone by 7 p.m., and he'd pretend it was okay. But I could tell it crushed him. He'd pack up the leftovers, label them with their names, text them that food was in the fridge, no worries if you couldn't make it. Next week. Then I saw it on Facebook, all 3 of them having dinner with their biological father, the man who abandoned us 2 decades ago for a meth lab that landed him in federal prison. Joshua posted about reconnecting with their roots. Leia shared quotes about blood being thicker than water. Katie just posted selfies with him. When Father's Day came, Samuel woke up at 6 a.m., showered himself, which takes him an hour now, and put on the cologne Katie bought him 3 years ago. He made reservations at that place Joshua loves. He texted in the family group chat, where everyone promised they would be there. We arrived 5 minutes late, but nobody was there yet. By 1 hour in, I begged Samuel to just go, but he wouldn't. He kept saying, they'd be here any minute now, clearly fooling himself. We only left 2 hours in. When we got home, he checked his phone again, and that's when we saw it, their Instagram stories. Best Father's Day ever with Travis, their bio dad, at some steakhouse downtown. Joshua's caption said, finally complete again. I swear to God, I heard something break inside Samuel's chest. The next Sunday, I called them and reamed them a new one. Told them they better come over today or I'm personally going to snap. They listened to me, but when they showed up for dinner, they acted like nothing happened. Even worse, instead of asking anything about Dad, they kept talking about Travis's prison stories, how misunderstood he was, how the system failed him. Samuel finally asked, his voice small, did I do something wrong? Why won't you visit me anymore? Leia actually rolled her eyes. God, Samuel, we're adults. We don't need you hovering. Joshua shrugged, besides, our real dad is back now. We need that relationship, too. Real dad. The words hung there like a knife in the air. Samuel just nodded, smiled, served dinner. 2 weeks later, the text came in all at the same time. Joshua needed $5,000 for urgent car repairs. Leia needed $8,000 for MCAT prep. Katie wanted $3,000 for a Cabo spring break trip, when it was autumn. Samuel texted back telling them to come for Sunday dinner, saying he'd have their checks ready. When they slouched in, they didn't even look at him. Just whispered about how slow he was moving now. Laughed about something Travis had said about cripples milking sympathy. I know they didn't think I heard that part. Samuel wheeled over with 3 envelopes, and they ripped them open like it was Christmas morning. But what they found inside was only $1 each. Their faces went from greedy to confused to furious in about 3 seconds. They turned to Samuel. What the? Sit down, all of you. I stood up and slammed my hands on the table. They actually looked shocked that I was speaking. Mom, you can't be serious. We're your actual kids. I laughed. My actual kids? You want to talk about actual? I actually chose dope over feeding you. I actually left you in dirty diapers for days. I actually brought men home who scared you so bad you'd hide in closets. Your dad was one of those men. Katie started to speak, but I wasn't done. I was a failure. But Samuel raised you. He actually taught Joshua to drive. Actually held Leia's hair during her binge phase. Actually lost his legs saving Katie from a drunk driver. I pulled out my phone, showed them their group chat, making fun of his wheelchair, calling him pathetic, planning to milk him for money to give to Travis. Joshua went white. You went through our phones? No. You idiots backed up to the family cloud, the one Samuel set up and pays for. I walked to the door, opened it. You know what? Your real dad asked you for money for his dealer. Yeah, I know about that, too. And you were going to take it from the man who destroyed his body raising you. My voice cracked more. Samuel hasn't been able to feel his legs for 4 months. He cries during physical therapy, not from pain. From watching videos of Katie's dance recital, knowing he'll never walk her down the aisle. They started protesting about tuition, rent, life. Cancel it all, Samuel, I said. He nodded, pulled out his laptop, already done. You have 30 days before you're dropped from your schools. Your father can handle it now. The real one, right? They all looked at us like we were in the wrong. They stormed out, telling us this wasn't over. Their real dad wouldn't put up with this. The next morning, I was making coffee when the doorbell rang 3 times fast. Then someone started pounding on the door. Samuel wheeled himself toward the hallway, but I got there first and looked through the peephole. Travis stood there with all 3 kids behind him. He was wearing a tank top that showed his prison tattoos and kept cracking his knuckles. I opened the door and he pushed past me into our living room without asking. The kids followed him in and wouldn't look at us. Travis walked around our house like he owned it, picking up Samuel's medical bills from the coffee table and looking at them. Samuel wheeled into the room and Travis stood right over him, using his height to make Samuel look up at him. Travis started yelling about how we were keeping money from his kids and he'd sue us for emotional distress if we didn't fix this right now. His spit was hitting Samuel's face. I grabbed my phone and called our family lawyer while Travis kept ranting about parental alienation and how judges always side with bio parents. Samuel pulled out his phone and started recording from his wheelchair while Travis paced around screaming about his rights. Joshua and Leia stood by the door staring at their phones. Katie sat on our couch scrolling TikTok. None of them would make eye contact with us. Travis grabbed the handles of Samuel's wheelchair and started shaking it hard while screaming about the money they deserved. Samuel's head was snapping back and forth and his hands gripped the armrests. That's when Joshua finally spoke up, but not to help Samuel. He told Travis we had a savings account at Wells Fargo with over $80,000 in it. My whole body went cold. Travis let go of the wheelchair and smiled at Joshua like he was proud of him. He said we had 24 hours to transfer half that money or he'd see us in court. Then he walked out and the kids followed him without saying a word to us. After the door slammed, Samuel started crying harder than I'd ever seen him cry. Not angry tears, but these deep, broken sobs that shook his whole body. He kept asking me what he did wrong over and over. I held him while he shook and reminded him his physical therapy was in an hour, but he couldn't stop crying long enough to get ready. We barely made it to the appointment. 3 days later at physical therapy, Marcus noticed Samuel wasn't doing his exercises right. Samuel's hands were shaking and he kept stopping to wipe his eyes. Marcus asked what was wrong and Samuel tried to explain but kept breaking down. Marcus canceled his next appointment and just sat there listening while Samuel told him everything. Later that day, our bank called saying someone tried to access our accounts using Samuel's information. The attempt failed because they didn't have the security questions right, but the bank recommended we change everything immediately. Samuel realized the kids knew his passwords from years of him trusting them with everything. We spent 3 hours at the bank changing all our account information. Katie posted a TikTok that afternoon about toxic parents who use money to control their adult children. It got 50,000 views in 2 hours. Our neighbor showed it to me at the grocery store asking if everything was okay with our family. Samuel saw it when his coworker texted him the link with a question mark. The video showed Katie crying about how we cut them off for choosing their real father. She never mentioned the wheelchair or the money requests or calling Samuel pathetic. A week later, a process server showed up while Samuel was trying to make lunch. His hands were shaking so bad, he kept dropping the peanut butter jar. The server handed him papers and left.